Welcome to the Pillow Fright Podcast. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Emma.
And we are your three besties who keep you all in the loop with all things horror.
Horror. Well, this is our last week of serial killer summer, the summer of cereal summer, hot cereal summer, summer of Sam. At this point, I hope we've come up with something solid to call it, but it is cereal summer, and we had to end on a classic, a banger, really one of the, I would say, most well-known fake serial killer movies.
It's definitely
modern times.
Yeah, one of the best, I would say, around. And speaking of summer, if you hear the air conditioner, we don't apologize. So it's hot as fuck. So deal with it. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, this is a great one. If you thought we would be covering this month, you were right. And what movie is that, Emma?
It's David Fincher's classic, Seven.
SE7EN.
You know,
Much like 13 Ghosts, which always confused me that I was like, you have to actually have the 13 in it, in like the numbers. Yeah. And I was like, why is this not coming up? Oh, okay, fine.
But somehow it works. Like, just mentally, it works.
I'm fine that it works. I always type it wrong. I always just type it out. And I'm like, wait, what the hell?
But it doesn't look good. If you just write 7, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, if you actually look up 7, it's like a very different 2013 horror movie. Because I just tried to like stream and play it. And I was like,
wait, 7, 2013?
There was a horror movie made called 7. It's
what are they doing with their lives?
And I'm like, that name's taken.
How dare you, 2013? How dare you?
But where were you when the first time you saw 7? How am I supposed to remember that?
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
It's like the JFK assassination.
Where were you when JFK was assassinated?
To me, this was like a pivotal movie of my youth. So I was wondering if it was for you guys too.
It's really interesting because my sister, I really want to bring her on the podcast sometime to watch something.
She listens because she knows she's like,
I know.
Fact checks us so hard.
She's like, listen, I never did that. I'm like, yes, you do. I promise you did.
We love you, Heather.
We do. This was one of the movies that because in our youth, she was more open to scary things than she is now. And this was one of the films that I learned through her because my sister's older by a couple of years. And I remember she saw this, and I remember the only thing I ever heard her say was the main thing everyone ever thinks about, what's in the box? So that's how I got introduced to the movie, and I didn't know what was in the box until I saw it. And I had the Mandela effect that we probably all do that we'll talk about later. But
no, this movie, I mean, I think that this is definitely a conversation that I've been wanting to have. I'm not saying we do it. It's going to have to be a separate thing. But like, I do want to know when spoilers are acceptable.
See, I'm of the principle of, because I'm in the camp of, there are a lot of movies I haven't seen and I don't necessarily know spoilers, but there are ones like Sixth Sense that I think a majority, if not most people have. But I think everybody gets introduced to the genre or just movies in general when, you know, you never know somebody's upbringing. You never know why they haven't seen a movie until they saw it. And I think it's perfectly understandable to be like, yeah, that's something that maybe you've heard in social commentary, but also I'm not going to blatantly just like outwardly spoil something just for the sake of spoiling something, you know?
Well, let's have that conversation at another time, because I think that's like, I actually think that we could easily have like a debate about like exactly the amount of time that it is okay, and like there's going to be a lot of factors. So
no, I think it's okay to talk about something, but like in this case, this is probably our most spoiler heavy movie we've talked about technically in terms of the spoiler world, and I think as long as you have the spoiler warning, cool, let's go for it.
Yeah, like I mean, you know, we let you guys know before we get into the spoilers of movies. But again, yeah, this movie is over 20.
It's almost.
Yeah. So almost 20. If you haven't seen it, you probably know.
No, it's almost 30 years old.
95.
How dare you?
Oh, no, wait, how old is
Math is hard, but yeah, this movie's almost, next year, this movie will be...
it's more the math of how old I am that's upsetting.
Yeah, this movie will be 30 years old next year. It came out in 1995.
We clutched our pearls.
I did. Because I
Why are we wearing pearls for this one that we're going to clutch like 12 times?
But I'm really sad that I'm the age that I am.
Great soundtrack.
Essentially, in case you don't know about Seven somehow, this classic, the synopsis. When retiring police detective William Somerset, Morgan Freeman, tackles a final case with the aid of newly transferred Detective David Mills, Brad Pitt, they discover a number of elaborate and grisly murders. They soon realize they are dealing with a serial killer who is targeting people he thinks represent one of the 7 deadly sins. Somerset also befriends Mills' wife, Tracy, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, who is pregnant and afraid to raise her child in the crime-riddled city.
Speaking of cities, did you know the first time you saw this or any time, did you know it was supposed to take place in LA?
1 minute, what?
No.
No,
No, it's not supposed to.
There are sources that say it's LA, but then you look at the county, like the jail and stuff, it's like that's not LA.
No, it's
but
filmed. There are places that are filmed in LA.
Yeah.
I remember specifically
The
there's
desert.
something about like a pizza place that's called
Right.
New York Pizza, but it is a New York pizza
I
that's
was going
here
to
in
say
LA.
the desert too, but I was like, when you think of Seven, what city do you think of? I
New
don't
York,
think of
right?
LA. Yeah,
Well,
New York. It's upstate. 'Cause he
Someone said
says-
that there's a badge that says Metropolitan.
Right.
Which, when you say anything for Metropolitan, I don't know of another major city that like really uses that besides New York.
And he says upstate when they're
Yeah, because
at some
upstate
point.
New York is farmland mostly.
Yeah,
that
so it
makes
could
sense.
be where the
So
power
that
lines
makes
are.
sense. Right. Okay.
I think it's supposed to be. They also wanted it to be somewhere that rains constantly.
Seattle?
So yeah,
That's not LA.
No,
That's-
I mean,
that's what I'm
do they
saying,
ever
like, it's-
actually say
no.
what the
No.
city is?
I think it's implied that's supposed to be New York though.
Also,
Like
the library, like
yeah.
New York's public library is a huge establishment, and it's possibly one of the most famous libraries in the country. So library.
library,
Oh no,
wheelbarrow,
Oh,
wheelbarrow.
But
Mike Magnolia.
Mike Magnolia, Mike Magnolia, Magnolia.
I really.
Let's just go David Lynch with that.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Oh, Jeebus. So I think it's New York. I think that, I mean, you talk about like a crime-riddled city with a bad school system and where cops go. And it's like, I mean, I can't think of anything. And then especially the weather part of it too.
Yeah, it's definitely upstate New York because after he said, because we looked at something online that was like LA, and it's like that must be some.
But it's like
hogwash,
also like
but
where else do you hear upstate? And
Exactly.
it makes sense.
Yeah,
Upstate California is like 8 hours away from LA. So
I don't even know where upstate is. That upstate a
San
thing?
Francisco.
Oh, that's where I'm from. Not San Francisco, but Sonoma. But
LA
yeah,
wishes it got rain like that.
I know.
I mean, we get shitty weather now, but you know, it's definitely not like
Did you call rain shitty weather? It's okay.
we don't get good rain here. We get crap
Sure.
rain. We don't get thunderstorms.
So I don't know what that's like, so I will take the crap rain over this fucking heat wave of a piece of shit summer.
It is very hot.
LA does
I
not
get
get good rain weather. If I think of like good rain, I'm not picturing California.
Speaking of summer, remember when, like, just to show how different the three of us are, Alyssa said the song Cruel Summer, and Kay said, oh, by Taylor Swift. I said, oh, by Ace of Base.
And then I just went,
She's like, Bananarama, you whores. And
but fair though, because I guess she did cover it and there was a cover, but I didn't know that because that's how old bitch I am.
I know, but it was just like that. It was one of the funniest moments to me of like how different the three of us are. Because it was, we all had a different song in mind
I just don't
for
know
Cruel
new
Summer.
stuff. I don't know covers. I don't know things. I try to be the cool hip mom, but
Cool mom.
the cool mom, but it doesn't always work.
Fine.
Anyway, back to Seven. Can we talk about the intro to that movie? It is so cool.
I made a note of that, and did the collection take inspiration from that? Because I have only seen the intro to the collection once when I actually saw it in theaters, but I remember the music by Charlie Cloud, whatever it is, the collection. It was very similar in my brain, but I can't remember.
I honestly don't think I've ever seen it.
I didn't look it up. I forgot to, but I feel like the collection might have paid, attention to.
I think American Horror Story has certainly taken some inspo from it.
Yes.
I think that to me, it obviously is a time capsule because like when I remember the first time I saw it and just thinking it was like so cool and hip and edgy. And even now today, I'm like, man, this holds up. This is so cool. And, you know, I think, I don't know how true this is, but legend goes, David Fincher used Trent Reznor's music without his permission for that. And like, you know, kind of remixed it in. And it's funny because now how many years, like 30 years later, they're collaborators. Like he's the composer for all of his movies.
He did, he won for Social Network, right?
Ooh, I love Trent Reznor.
And
he's one of my favorite
Girl
artists.
with the Dragon Tattoo. And
he did Ninja Turtles, the new Ninja Turtles that just came out too, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard, but I love him.
I mean that, because it's not even the words really, except for the "You let me closer to God," right?
Yeah.
That's the only lyric that's in the opening, if I remember correctly.
Did they?
you can
is
hear
that
the music.
opening?
No, it's the
Is
music.
that the song?
Yeah.
That's
It's
it?
just the.
How did I?
But it's like really, it's mixed really low, and it's
Okay,
like,
that's probably why. Because it's like I love that song, and I love.
From what I understand, they didn't have permission.
That's probably why they did it like that.
It's cool though.
Oh,
it's so cool.
good.
It's well done.
It's so good.
And the first body is the writer.
Yeah.
That's him. That's him in there. Good for you. Good for you, sir.
Good for you, sir. They start this
yourself
movie out
in.
with a bang.
They do. I mean,
they do not fuck around with this.
You got to
movie.
start the movie out with a corpse.
A beautiful corpse.
A stunning corpse.
I'm gonna say that so many times in this. Gosh, the effects held up, which
Insane.
I
Do a
honestly
jar.
was. Oh, I was shocked though about how good those corpses looked. Almost 30 years down the
they're
line.
great.
And you know, I'm watching this on DVD on a PlayStation, and I know that the PS5 like upgrades your movie a little bit, but at the same, like, it's not Blu-ray, it's just like a regular DVD.
Yeah.
But it looked so good. And I mean, I'm going to talk about each one of those corpses.
Oh, I know. I think we're excited
Yeah.
to get your
Whatever.
input on
This
the-
is like makeup realm. This is a very K episode.
every sin we touch upon.
I'm going to talk about that corpse.
As you're like humping the chair right now.
Oh, I'm just excited. I'm moving.
She's dancing.
I'm dancing.
I know.
I'm wiggling.
I know.
But you know what's crazy to me is if you think about the time this movie was made, David Fincher wasn't David Fincher yet. He had done Aliens
Yeah.
like 3 or something, which flopped and is
Which, by the way, I want to watch the director's cut of that at some point in the future because apparently it's supposed to be great.
I honestly, Aliens is a very big blind spot for me.
Oh, this is so exciting.
But yeah, if you think about it, he wasn't David Fincher yet. What was the writer's name? Andrew
Kevin Walker.
Andrew Kevin Walker. This was like one of the first things he ever sold. And I think the first director that was going to do it was going to change the ending. And it accidentally got sent to David Fincher with the original ending that's there now. But like it wasn't supposed to.
Guillermo del Toro turned it down.
Yeah. Wow. And so, you know, it's like these dudes that were nobodies that just kind of made this magical, like, cult classic of a movie. And that's so cool to me. And Darius Kanji was the guy who shot it. And now look at how big he is. Like,
What did he do?
oh my gosh, he's DP'd huge things now. Like, I think he does like Inarritu's movies. I think he's done several other Fincher movies.
Oh, shit.
Big time, like one of the biggest DPs there is. And it's like, you know, it's like I love stories like that always get me so excited when it's like people who came together just to make something cool. And it turns out like, you know, all their work and like effort turned into something really, really great.
That's amazing.
That's always
I didn't even
exciting
know that.
to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I also, when going through the trivia for this movie, it's interesting how many actors turned down the roles.
Oh, really?
And that regretted it. Almost all of them have, like, said that they regretted it. Denzel Washington turned down Mills. Christina Applegate turned down Gwyneth Paltrow's role.
Christina Applegate. Interesting.
There's a couple of people that was just like it was offered to them and it wouldn't work. There was one of them, I think his name was Dustin Hoffman, turned down Morgan Freeman's role because he didn't want to do night shoots.
I feel like I heard something about that. That was like a weird trivia because I thought that I could not see a world where this movie had Dustin Hoffman as the role of Mills.
Right?
And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gwyneth Paltrow only did it because
She was dating Brad Pitt?
Yeah. He convinced her to do it.
Yes, that's right.
Like, but the casting is perfect, and the casting not just for the leads, but like the people who were in even the smaller parts ended up, having great careers, or they've done a lot of horror, even though this movie is, it's horror, but it's thriller. A lot of them.
That's another conversation topic, is like what counts as horror and what's like, where's that blend? And I think this blends perfectly with like thriller, horror, just that subgenre. But I think that's really interesting. I forgot that Gwyneth Paltrow was dating Brad Pitt at that time. And do you think she even remembers filming this?
And she had like 3 scenes, right?
I was going to say, what do you think she thinks about this movie nowadays?
That girl's crazy.
Exactly. I was going to say, she can't even remember her coworkers on freaking Iron Man. Like, or
Spider-Man.
What was it? Like,
no, she was in Iron Man.
It was the...
No, she didn't remember being in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Because I think they filmed them all so close together, they probably like picked up her scene on a different day. She's like, I didn't even know I was in that movie.
Yeah, she's milquetoast.
What she thinks about
She's
this.
very Mayo.
Yeah.
It's okay. She has a vagina candle. So
weirdest thing.
Wait,
anyway,
what was that? Your yoni?
Moving on. I think that a lot of you can tell that this movie has like really great attention to detail and a ton of research, and a lot of the behind the scenes efforts that were put in are, I think, one of the reasons this movie holds up so much.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get. We'll talk about the bodies as they come along, but there's some stuff with the makeup artist. Yeah. So.
Well, I think that, this movie kind of, I don't know a ton about David Fincher on a personal level or what his interests are, but like he's obviously stayed within the serial killer genre.
Yeah.
He made Zodiac. He made
Mindhunter.
Mindhunter's so
He's
good.
Kind of a master of the slow burn.
He did.
He's great.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I really think he found his niche with this movie, and I think it's something that seems to interest him a lot.
Well, and I don't know much about his personal life either, but he clearly, he has an interest in serial killers and detective and FBI in that world, and it's just I would love to see a David Fincher Silence of the Lambs movie or just anything in that world. That would be freaking awesome. But yeah, I don't know what more we can say without actually getting into the plot, because again, it is an older movie that we've may or may not have seen, but I'm sure you at least something I wrote in the notes too was like, I love how this movie has one of the most iconic twists, has one of the most iconic lines with what's in the box, and it has like one of the biggest like jump scares, even though it's not a horror movie, but it has like one of the most iconic jump scares that you can think of. And that being said,
and something else I really liked, it kind of like influenced like a whole decade. Like this movie was very like green and blue, and like had this sort of like, I call it, my photographer brain calls it like a grunge texture to it.
Yeah.
And like after that, every movie tried to be that.
I was going to say only a few years after, it really wasn't that far after that Saw happened. And this was very Saw, and I'm sure that they got inspiration from that, and I thought that would be a cool movie to talk about this month. But yeah, if you think about the original Saw, not the sequels, but the original Saw is very green, very like fluorescent.
Yeah, well, they're in the fluorescent bathroom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, the IMDb trivia also said that David Fincher wanted to make a black and white movie in color.
That makes sense.
I love that.
And that was a lot of the work of the cinematographer who had done like perfume ads before that, and like I don't know. I think
Darius Kanji.
Yeah, there you go.
These are great names.
Yeah,
Darius Kanji.
But because I remember the library being green was gorgeous and really stood out, and like down to the books that were in the aisles seemed. Everything seemed like it was there for a reason.
Right.
And also with that grunge look, like I felt the library had a haze. And I was like, I don't know why these libraries are so hazy, but it works. It was the smoke, and they were like...
I also think, the library was sort of Somerset's like happy place. So it's a little bit warmer. It's a little bit glowy. I think that they definitely shot for vibes a little bit.
Yep.
But it worked. And even John Doe's apartment, I loved every part of it.
Oh.
I thought that apartment looked, the set deck on that.
Amazing.
Oh my God. They must have had a field day.
I wanted that apartment so
It was
bad.
also, that apartment actually looked like, if you It reminded me of like if you go on goth home decor Pinterest, but then like someone didn't have the budget and they're actually like a sloppy bitch. That was very, because I was like, ooh, the black walls with the sconces and also the red door. And I was like, but it's also filthy.
Right. Yeah.
It looks like I might live there. Like I'm kind of trash. But I mean, and then even how beige still Mill's apartment was, but still warm because it has her in like he has her in his life.
Right.
So each of their settings, like their home was really, counting the library to be Somerset's home, was very reflective of their characters.
Yeah.
Because even though Mills is dark and greer and like a tough cop guy, he still has his like sunshine happiness at home. Because that's another thing Brad Pitt said, that Gwyneth Paltrow's character was like the sunshine of the film.
She is.
So yeah, all the locations, even down to the sins, make sense. You have Gluttony's is filthy and disgusting and full of food.
And roaches.
The
roaches
and the fridge
were a big
even
thing.
inside. Oh.
And
Are we
then-
in spoiler territory yet, by the way? Are we
should
just getting
probably-
down to it? I mean, we're,
Spoilers.
Sure. We're in spoiler town now. Yay.
So, okay. So this is the point of the episode where we start to get into spoilers. So if you haven't watched Seven, turn this off, go watch the movie and come back and join us for the rest of the talk.
What's it streaming on, by the way?
It's not.
Nothing.
It's not.
Rent it.
Unfortunately.
I watched it on
Rent
Peacock
it,
like a
you-
month ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck?
We all rented these back in the days. You can rent it. I actually honestly, like spend the $2-3 that you need to rent it because it's a classic.
And I kind of want to rewatch it remastered.
Yeah.
Besides
it's a
the
great
DVD.
movie. Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially we have all 7 deadly sins. The very first one we get, which is when
Well, our first murder isn't even a deadly sin. It's they meet at like someone's house, or like it's like a murder scene.
it's
crime scene.
a wife killed her husband,
Yeah.
and Somerset's like, did the kids see? And the cop was such a dick. He's just like, who gives a shit? This is why you're retiring. How dare you think about the kid? And I was like, that's a little aggressive. I forgot that scene existed, but I was like,
Right.
I don't think that was necessary.
I also like really like the scene at the very beginning where it's like Somerset in his apartment, and it's like you see like his very like lined up like his watch and his badge and all of his
Yeah.
things
His
for
chess
the day.
set.
Yeah, and it's like you could just tell that like it tells you so much about his character and like the type of person he is, where he's like simple and meticulous and like, you know, his apartment is very bare and
Well, compared to Brad Pitt, who's chaotic and unpredictable, like he's very organized, and I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Got to play off each other. But yeah, so then they meet on this, and then they get sent to the first crime scene, the first of the murders, the real murders.
Which was, gluttony, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That actor spent 14 hours in makeup.
was
Only
he
to be, like,
was he a
in
large
the-
person
yeah.
or was he like a
Bob Mack is, I mean, that's his name. He doesn't have an IMDb photo. I'm not sure where he.
That's just insane, though, to not even have a present. You're literally just, your face is in spaghetti. And like, that's your day.
Oh, they show his face once.
They show it once
lift it.
briefly. Yeah. Oh, God.
He's just
that's
listed as
awful.
crew.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I wonder if he was like a makeup
Do you think?
person, like a guy in
Yeah.
the makeup department. They're like, we're gonna put you in the suit now.
Might have been.
I mean, he's got some, I don't remember. If we find anything else about it, I'll add it in later for the video. Not only this guy went through it, he has to wear the prosthetic makeup. And I did remember reading that they said that because they felt so bad. I mean, it was a body piece. It wasn't like he wasn't that big.
Yeah.
No matter what. I don't know what size the gentleman was, but because they felt bad about how large the prosthetics and everything were and everything putting him, they made him well endowed. That was
Oh
something.
yeah, I remember reading that
I
once
was
too.
like, you know what? Okay, if you're gonna make a large scene,
Wait,
you might as well
did
make
they
a
ever
big
show his
ol'-
wiener?
I don't remember seeing it.
No,
Maybe
I
that
don't
was
think
just
they
for
did.
him.
Yeah.
Just for him to know.
Yeah, just the knowledge.
You're a big guy. You also got a big swinging dick. You're dead though.
R.I.P.
But the cockroaches that they poured cockroaches over that guy.
No, they did not. Oh my
Yes,
god.
And they had to plug his ears and nose so that the cockroaches wouldn't try to climb in.
Oh, this
I
poor
hate
man.
cockroaches, but I feel like I'm I would do that. Like if you said, could I pour cockroaches? If they were like clean, like celebrity cockroaches.
There's no such thing as clean cockroaches.
You know what I mean? Like wrangled cockroaches.
They are wrangled.
As someone who lives in Van Nuys has had their apartment fumigated twice in a month.
Oh my
trust
God.
me, they don't.
No, I walk outside and I see one. I'm like, no. Like I hop over that. But I feel like acting wise, I'm not like I would. There's only one specimen I would never let crawl. I mean, I will not say it, but cockroaches, I don't think I think I could do it. I think I could do it. It's fucked up. That sounds awful, but I think I could do it. That's a challenge. I want to do it.
Nope.
But yeah, so this gentleman, I mean, they started off where they're like, how do you know he's dead? Why aren't you calling the ambulance? They're like, bro, just like, dude's dead. Dude's super dead. Just go in there and look, and I will tell you that dude is dead. Like, he would have gotten up.
God. Can you imagine? That's your job. Like, that's why so many people, they don't last long in that field because you see that shit. And it's like, imagine that being your job where it's like, I have to touch you, like, look at you all over. And,
Well, for the most part, the other cops were like, it's almost like they were extra crass and I don't want to say over it, but just like unaffected by everything in comparison to Mills, Somerset, who was doing that whole like, I'm too old for this shit.
Right.
And then Mills, who cares?
Right. They've seen it. They're
Well,
exposed
you know,
to it.
it's the juxtaposition of these two characters where like Somerset has had his fill. He's put in his time. He's seen the worst of it and it has gotten to him and he's tired and he's done. And Mills is, you know, he's green as hell and he's got something to prove and
He's eager.
He's eager. He's like, you know, he's like, as my grandpa would say, he's a half jerked off puppy dog. Like,
No, you never say that again.
Never say that.
The actual fuck.
it's 2 a.m.
Okay.
You know, oh my God, is it?
No, but like, that's
it's
no
almost.
excuse. Don't say that again out loud. Jesus
Not yet.
Christ.
Not yet. We have
I can't
2
believe I
hours to
deleted
party.
videos on my phone for that.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
No, but I mean, he's
yes.
an eager gentleman with a wagging tail.
He, So you see this guy that's just like hunched over a table, face down. It could be a bloated corpse. It could be anything, but like dude's dead. And you can see in this like apartment with a texture, you can feel. You can feel how grimy.
It's gross. You could smell it.
Yeah.
You can just,
Ugh, it was fuzzy most likely and also slimy. But I liked it better when you got to the medical examiner's office and he's on the slab. And Rob Botton, the effects makeup, who had also worked on Maniac and The Thing, The Fog. He also worked on Fight Club, but that was after, obviously. He changed the scene because his research of what an autopsy looked like didn't fit what the script did. So that's one of the things when I mentioned that it seemed like they wanted to make this as real, as gritty as possible. He's like down to the autopsy. No, this needs to be more realistic. And when you see that first corpse, what really stood out for me was the veining and the modeling. Was gorgeously done.
Beautiful corpse.
It is a beautiful corpse. But the thing is, you really don't see that much of the corpse.
Yeah.
You don't really see the face. You don't really see like wounds. They talk about he had a weapon pressed against his head, a gun pressed against his head. They bring out his like organ sack, his big old
the stomach. Like
his stretched out stomach, and it's like the guy's like lifting it. It's,
and that he had to eat so much he didn't burst, but his insides
Not
were stretched out.
entirely.
Yeah,
Right.
not entirely.
Yeah.
I like that he's like, yes and no. I don't know. It's like this guy, every time they're asking questions, he's like, man, come on. You think I've seen this before?
Yeah.
What the heck? Yeah, kind of. He might have died from that. He also could have just like, there's a lot that killed this dude.
Oh my God, this poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, being force-fed and tied, the hands underneath the table that were tied together, like right off the bat with this murder, you feel that there was suffering.
yeah. And
I
like,
forgot about how beautiful the first body was too. That he was kind of bloated.
I think it's interesting in that scene when Morgan Freeman's character is like, why don't you go help knock on doors? Like, get out of here, puppy dog.
Yeah.
And I love the friction between them.
Yeah. Like, because Morgan Freeman, he's like a day or something away, like a week from retiring
7
or something.
days.
7 days from 7 days from retiring. And he's like, he literally, I'm too old for this shit.
But he
I
also,
kind of
he
tell-
takes it
yeah.
very seriously. And like,
Right.
you know, I think that Brad Pitt's like young blood energy is just not
just
what he's
too
here
much.
for.
It's literally a dog because you get your old dog who's like ready to just go to bed. And then you got the puppy coming in. And he's like, nope,
Yeah.
get the fuck away from me.
And so he goes to his captain and he's like,
Yeah.
bro, no, I don't want to be on this case. This is not going to be an open and shut.
Right.
Don't do this.
He's like, I'm 7 days. I just want to be on my farm.
And then he's like, and that guy's not fucking ready either. Screw
Right.
that guy. And I also, love that Arlie Emery is the police captain.
Oh yeah, I hate that I recognize him from the fucking Texas Chainsaw remake more than I do this.
He's in
yeah.
Full Metal Jacket?
He's in
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket.
Love
It's
that
probably one
movie.
of his most famous roles, but he was in 2 Texas Chainsaw movies, the 2003 and the 2006. But I mean, he's good in those, though.
Oh, he's great.
He's a very like
You can
memorable.
hate him.
It's his voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
I
a
know.
great
I love
villain.
his line. He's just like, it's not even my desk, and just hangs it back up. Like, why'd you answer the phone then, you weirdo?
No, he's great.
It's not even my desk. Just hangs it back up. I don't know. I love that. I don't know why I love that scene. It's completely unrelated to the entire movie, but it's just like, okay, yeah, bro. He's just like, I'm dealing with shit. Stop calling me.
I love him. His eyebrows do so much.
Yeah, yeah. But like grizzled police captain or
Yeah.
chief or whatever his stature was at the time. I
He's
don't
like the
remember.
Jack Crawford.
He was a drill sergeant IRL before he was an actor.
That's right. Yes. I thought I read that, which is even scarier
I know.
if you have to act opposite him in that kind of context.
And then we have the next murder, which is greed. And
Yes.
Mills is on it, but not Somerset because they don't realize yet that they're connected.
Yeah.
Which also then you have this next crime scene, which is so pristine. And I love like the bookshelves and the art and like all the framing of it's
Yeah.
really nice.
It's the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the wife has her photo of a very classic black and white. Of course, that's what your wife's headshot essentially is
See,
on.
like the newspapers like announcing, oh, famous lawyer like, died or what.
And there's the news. Yeah, the news.
Yeah.
He's on the news. He's watching the news, and they're like, "How dare you think that we're cool with this? And murder's bad." Because they're interviewing the guy who ends up being the ADA.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
they're accusing him of shit. And he's just like, Mills is just like got his feet up on the desk and stuff. It's like, bro, it's a crime scene. But that's when they realize that there's more to these and the greed and blood, and then he goes back. Oh God, the plastic shavings thing. That was gross too.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of gross stuff.
There's a lot of gross. But I love when they finally get them connected. And
Well, I think he asked the wife, right? He's like, "What is there something that's out of place?"
because he had the photo of the wife in his office
But
with the
he's drawn blood on the eyes,
yeah,
so she's
all
seen
around.
something.
It's like a blood mask.
And then
yeah.
he's like, and she's like freaking out. She's like, "I can't do this right now." He's like, is there anything that looks out of place?" And he's like, "Oh, this picture's
painting
upside down."
upside down.
Yeah.
well, that comes after they've already found gluttony.
Oh.
They go back. There's a lot of back and forth
yeah.
in the first one because first
Yeah.
he gets the shavings and he's still in his office, and
Yeah.
then he goes back to the original crime scene. He places the shavings on the floor and then pulls out the fridge.
That's right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
And then he sees gluttony, and so then they tie the greed and gluttony together. And then when they ask the wife, the fingerprint idea on the wall, where they're like, "There's nothing here," and then he sees that it's fingerprints on the wall, and I was like, I mean, I remember the first time that like I saw that was just like really, really dark, and that it said "help me," like that's also
yeah. Oh.
when you know there's no help in that dude, but you're still like, "Oh, help me." But I thought, and then see, we get murder number 3, which was sloth, which I do think is one of the, I don't know if you went the end, we can rate them in memorability, but that one was gross.
Sloth is the one that I think a lot of people remember the most because of just the scare, just of like the sudden, like you don't realize that fucker's alive.
Yeah.
There's also it's kind of like I think a goof, or what do you call it, like a
Continuity error?
no. If you look
oh my
closely,
God,
you can see his
blooper?
real
Like a-
arm
Oh,
next to
really?
the fake arm on the bed.
Oh no, I never noticed that. Oh my
Someone pointed it out to me once. I'll never
Can you
not
never
see
not
it.
see it? I don't know if I want to see it.
No, it's like because they have the skinny arms because he's emaciated,
Right.
And but you can see his real arm is just sitting next to it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, the actor was 90 pounds.
Oh shit.
He was already a super skinny dude.
Yeah.
To do this part, which in order to be emaciated, that's one of the reasons. When they hire zombies for The Walking
They get
Dead,
skinny face.
yeah, because it's easier to build
It is.
out.
Yeah. Right.
And he had that corpse had a lot of boils and bed sores.
Yeah.
And, ugh.
Isn't he supposed to be the red herring, or isn't he the one that they think is the murderer?
Momentarily
Because of the Polaroids.
The shitty cops think he's the murderer.
Right.
Because they just want to solve it. And they're like, oh, he's a bad dude.
John C. McKinley, right? Is that him? Who's the FBI guy who's actually a comedy actor, but he's randomly in this movie? That's him, right?
Well, no, he's the
SWAT guy.
He's the SWAT guy.
Yeah, the SWAT guy who you always notice in the comedies, and he's in this movie, and it's weird. It's very weird.
I love when the guy gets in his face. He's like, "You had this coming" or something, and then the jump scare.
That is John C. McGinn. And then he's he pulls a gun on him, and it's he's strapped to the bed, bro.
If you don't expect him to pop up, it's seriously the first time I saw that I shit myself. That is the scariest shit, because the way you think he's dead, this emaciated corpse, and there's photos of him as he's emaciated, as he's going on, and you're you fucker, we got you
1 year.
And then all of a sudden he's
1 year to the day.
he pops up, and oh my god.
Can you do that for me one more time?
That's my ringtone.
But I also love the Polaroids that it's every single day for a year, which means
Yes.
that the killer
Oh my
visits
God.
him every day just to take a picture.
It's so fucked up.
It's-
Oh my
Well,
god.
is that the murder when the killer actually shows up as a paparazzi photographer?
Yeah, at the outside the building.
Yeah.
Outside the apartment on the stairs.
Yeah, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of my face!"
And he has he puts on a weird voice and he says some fuck your mother. I don't even know what he says. But it's
Stereotypical, with the are you on Neighborhood Watch? With the fedora and the trench coat.
He's wearing
Yeah.
a wig and glasses too.
he is. He's wearing a wig.
Yep.
It's-
Yeah.
Is it implied, by the way, that Sloth is still alive? After this is
No, so they go to the
okay.
hospital and
Yeah.
the doctor, they're like, did he say anything to us? And the doctor's like, nah, bro, this dude's dead. And he,
Yeah.
Or he's his brain is mush.
his brain is mush. He
Right.
said
If I
even
put
if
a
his
fl-
brain wasn't mush, yeah.
Yeah, he's if I put a flashlight in his eyes, he'd die of shock
what an
immediately.
awful way to die.
Well, I like the doctor's quote there, and I wish I remembered the exact whole thing, but he's basically he's gone through as much pain and suffering as I've ever witnessed.
Yes.
And he
And
still
he
has-
still has hell to look forward
Yeah.
to. And I was like, ooh, that's such a good line. Because the dude was I think they said he was a child
Yes.
molester.
Right. Kill by kill, if you have not covered this, I think you should, because I want to hear what y'all think. Who would die? In what way? Kill by kill. Patrick Hamilton, by the way. Gina Radcliffe. Pimpin' Out Podcasts.
So we're down 3 sins. We've had gluttony, we've had greed, and now we've had sloth.
Have we gone to the library yet?
I think I think in between this was the library, because he was looking up the deadly sins, right? Because
So the library happens when they're realizing that the cases are tied, but Somerset doesn't want to work with Mills. He leaves Mills a list of this is what you should be
Right.
reading. And I love that he gets Cliff Notes versions because he's like, I'm not reading this.
Notes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But who's got time?
And then I love that the juxtaposition. That's the scene where the classical music's playing, right? Because all
Yeah.
the police guys are they're doing poker in the library.
It's the security guards and the
they're
janitor.
all-
Yeah.
right. And he's actually, Somerset's doing the research. He's actually looking at the
It's
books, Dante's,
Canterbury Tales.
Canterbury Tales. And then you see, Mills has the literal Cliff Notes. Back in the day, there were actual pages of the literal Cliff Notes.
Oh, the yellow little
the
books.
yellow ones that, if you were in
Yeah.
high school at the time, you're like, please, Mom, can you get me the Cliff Notes? Those
I
were
never
those.
asked for the Cliff Notes.
I got Cliff Notes once, I feel like. Just once.
So then we have the 3, but then it starts to get more into the personal
my
lives.
notes.
That's when we meet That's when we get to meet his wife because they're together and they have to share an office.
And she calls.
Because they're new in town. She doesn't know anybody. So she invites Somerset to have dinner with them. And I love that they're drinking wine and he's like drinking beer. Like he doesn't give a fuck. And then he offers him a drink later and he's like, I'll just have wine. And he has the beer and then he gives him like this full on like giant glass of wine. And like you could tell that Tracy and him get along on like an intellectual level. They're both drinking wine and they're both relating, where you got this like chaotic energy here with the beer who's just like
in his room full of dogs that he's just on the floor with.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
Well, they take like almost a little bit of a break in between all the murders to give you some more humanity. And it's like, okay, you've seen a lot of corpses. We're going to wait a second.
Right.
We'll bring you back in. And that's when we get to see the apartment, which is like
Mills's.
Oh, and the guy, another horror person, the greasy guy that gives them the information on the library books.
Oh.
He's been in 30 Days of Night. And it's
his
Boone.
Lost or something? Was he on Lost?
Oh, he was on.
Was he the one that they met at the restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he comes back to the barbershop.
Yeah.
And then, so then they get this list of they're basically like, hey, so the government just keeps track of the books you check out because like they just want to know if you're reading books that we actually can't even say out loud. And if you are, then they're gonna track you. And he's like, is that legal? And he's like,
one of them.
They get the FBI agent to be like, let's cross-reference all of these books because obviously this guy is like that's when you start to see Somerset's getting like excited about it. He's like, ooh, who's he thinking about? Ooh, he's thinking about Jack the Ripper. He's thinking about this. Like he's involved in the case now. Right. He's a little bit hyped for it. He's getting to that same level that Mills is, and they get a name that matches, and they go to the Red Door apartment.
Yes.
And then we get...
Oh, before that, though, was that the photographer or was that a different scene?
No, the photographer was outside of the outside of Sloth.
Never mind. I'm thinking of seeing right after that.
Well, we then see him because they're debating going in the door and Somerset's like looking up and somebody walks up with groceries and they just have this little stare off and they know.
Like down the hall, same fedora, same like, and the
trench
groceries
coat.
Just guys like, you can just tell in the distance, he's like, fuck. And he just pulls out the gun.
Well, he starts to like walk a little bit like he's normal, and then it's just drops the groceries gun. Right. Apparently, it is a miss in the movie as soon like the groceries are there, but then the groceries disappear. But this chase scene, I always forget that this chase scene's in the movie.
Right.
Maybe because it's not a corpse. So like
probably.
But it's a very elaborate chase scene. Yes. I remember writing that I definitely thought it was New York because of all the people yelling like at gunshots. Keep it down out there. It's a gunshot.
Oh, and then trying to cross the street, the falling over the cabs, and no one gives a shit. They're just like, get out of my way. Like, they don't give
the most New York part of the chase scene, I think, was when Mills fell through an awning into trash. Yes. I was like, I have seen this in chase movies before. But Brad Pitt actually got hurt during that filming.
Oh, shit.
His hand went through a windshield.
Oh, shit.
And that's why he's doing this. And he's like hiding it in his shirt.
So he really got covered then.
Apparently, from what I read, it was you could see the bone. And when he showed David Fincher, like he was like visibly like going to get sick.
God. So that cast or that thing was really...
He was supposed to get injured anyway in the script, but they changed it to reflect his actual injury. Yeah. But I think that's one of the parts where I noticed about how physical of an actor Brad Pitt is, he gets hit in the head and he's very good about that, like, dazed, because like head injury, like your whole body doesn't work right.
Yeah.
And you could really see that when he's like trying to get up and falling down. And it wasn't everything he did, all of his movements were very believable. They were full body. I mean, a lot of people just think of Brad at that time. I don't think they were fully respecting Brad Pitt. He'd just come off of that, like he was a romance.
Like Legends of the Fall.
There we go.
95. Yeah. So he did Thelma and Louise. He did Cutting Class.
Yeah, I think he was
a sex symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't take him seriously. He's one of the prime examples of, oh, you're a pretty face. You must not be a great actor. But he's a great actor. He really is.
Especially in this movie. Right. He'd also done Tales from the Crypt with a lot of people from this movie. But they leave and they lose him, but they do go back to that apartment. And I did not remember how much time they spent in the apartment, and I'm really glad that when I rewatched this, I got to see so much of it because I wanted that to be an escape room. I want to go to the escape room of that apartment.
Yeah.
Especially like it's the black with the red door.
Yep.
The fact that it's like Friends logic. Like, how does this dude afford such a huge apartment in New York? It's like, what,
He
4
probably takes
bedrooms?
the money from all of his victims.
Well, he had a box
He's
full
got
of cash,
to. Yeah.
too.
Well, like you got the bathroom, then you got like the red cross above the
Oh, the
bed.
neon cross.
Oh,
Yeah. It was like a 9 Inch Nails music video.
It
Like,
really is. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But I love the little boxes that he has, and we only get to see 4. But you have, in the first one, it's cans of spaghetti sauce.
Yes.
First, gluttony. The second one is greed, and it's law books. I mean, there's blood on the glass, so it was hard to. I tried. I was like pausing it. I was trying to read what the book titles were, but I couldn't. So someone else probably has that trivia. But newspaper articles about how the ethics of the lawyer that he killed and how much of a bad person he was.
Oh, man.
And then the whole thing's drenched in blood, and then the third one is the hand that he cut off the sloth victim.
That's right in the jar.
Yeah, the hand in the jar.
Gosh.
And then the fourth one is a receipt from Wild Bill's leather goods.
That was
Yes.
and they go to that, and I wrote a note too because in the hallway after they see John Doe, they're like, "Is this him?" And how is that not Heisenberg? Like the photo that they have of him looks like Heisenberg.
Before Heisenberg.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I just when they showed that is this him? Dun dun dun. Like I just heard the Breaking Bad music, and I want to see that put to life because that's amazing. But yeah, was that a callback to Buffalo Bill, like Silence of the Lambs, the
I
Wild
kind of
Bill?
thought so, but I don't know.
Like not a callback, an homage, I guess, or the word that we use, homage.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the Bill part of it, but it does also seem like maybe just like that's a Wild Bill seems like a very cowboy leather goods store.
No, it just seemed very like, okay, Wild Bill, like Buffalo Bill, leather, serial killer.
Maybe.
I felt like maybe it was like a subtle I want to
Question
know.
for the writer.
Yeah.
If you know, let us know.
But also, how does good old Wild Bill get this order from Jonathan Doe?
Jonathan Doe, please.
And it's that. And
My
then
name
you're
is
like,
Jonathan Doe.
yeah, I'm going to make this. Don't worry about it. Your money's just as green as everybody else's. So I'm going to make this weird shit.
Well, I mean, there's like fashion designers out there that make crazy stuff like that. I think with never assuming anyone's actually going to use it, you know?
Right.
Fair, but that's a big old knife on
And it could
that.
be for like modeling or for fetish, porn maybe.
I think
he
I
thought,
can't
but-
remember the full
yeah.
name of the designer. It's like Michael Schmidt something, who does a lot of Elvira's outfits, and he makes big metal piece body, like big metal boobs and stuff.
Oh
And I'm just
my
like, I can kind
God.
of see that existing, in that kind of world. But also every time I see that, I'm like, how does it work?
I mean,
Is it in there?
You have.
Is there a hole?
It would probably just
Is it like
be-
a pouch? Then it's
you-
like,
That's what I think. I think that it's probably a thing, and you have the thing.
Seems painful.
And
yeah, it doesn't.
I
seem-
would assume he would not have a boner at the time, so it's probably flaccid.
boner.
So
like
it's,
it's
not
like a man thong with like
it's
the thing attached.
His thing is probably under it.
Is it a harness?
It's probably a
Well, it
harness.
was a
Yes,
harness.
It's like a harness.
It's a strap-on.
Okay.
Strap-on. It's a
Yeah.
strap-on. Yeah.
Because they have a Polaroid of it on a
I know,
mannequin
but
who's
it's just
like,
on the mannequin.
yeah.
Right. Doing research in the summer slashers thing. I think they do that in Knife Plus Heart.
Oh, I still want to see
Something
that
very
movie.
similar. I want to see it too.
So, but then
yeah.
when we go to like the scene where this lust character, because he has the only thing in the little box. Oh, well, we don't even see the full thing. So the thing in the box is pictures of like someone who looks like she might be a prostitute
Not the main box at the end, but the other box.
in the walls
In the
boxes.
trophy boxes.
In the trophy
trophy
boxes is that receipt, that order, and then a pictures of prostitute. But then the more interesting photos are when they get in the bathtub and he has his own like bathtub dark room, and it's that's when they realize that he was the reporter because they have the photo of Brad Pitt.
Oh, and Brad Pitt loses his shit, and Somerset's like, calm down. You need to calm down.
But then we get We get another one of those iconic deaths that we don't really see her dead body. You only really see legs, but they go into that like sex room with like the club, and I think my notes were like,
it. Yeah, because you can't see it.
No,
really.
they don't
It's
show.
just
They
implied
really
by
don't
his
show.
reaction after. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not this movie as much as they did like some really, really, really amazing work on the corpses. Besides Sloth, you don't really see,
Which I think brilliant.
yeah.
Better.
It leaves a lot to
Yeah.
the imagination because that would just be
It's scarier
gory.
that way.
Yeah, but it's also when it goes into the R word, it gets ugly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But I think that
It does.
the
It does.
it was far more effective to have him just describe it and let your brain. You see the
like-
weapon and you see what he says and you put those pieces together.
Yeah.
Is far more disturbing than anything they could have made on camera.
Yes.
Yes.
The first time I saw it, and I think even the last time I watched it too, because you know what happens, but I took it for granted watching it the last time, like this last week, because thinking, oh, I know what happens. And as I was watching it, he was describing it and he was like, the knife. And my brain suddenly forgot actually what happened because you don't see it. And I thought, oh my God, that's fucked up when he's describing it and like he's shivering. He's like, ugh, like he's just like his reaction. He's so stunned.
fucker.
Like I would rather see that than see the actual image any day. Oh my God.
He's so good in that scene too. He's so good.
Right.
Oh
my gosh.
And then you also have like the see together. Like, how'd you know? He's like, I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I just work here. But then
that what's that actor's name? He's in like everything around that time.
he wasn't
in
a lot.
so much.
Rest in peace.
Did he die?
Yeah, he died in 2016.
Oh no.
The funny thing, his character's name is literally just like Guy at. I pulled him up.
He's like the shady guy in everything.
Michael Massey.
Yeah, look him up because I don't remember what he was in, but I know he's done a lot. Is that
He's done a lot of horror, yeah.
Oh my God.
The Crow, that's the thing.
The Crow? That's what I remember him from.
Yeah.
Damn.
A year prior, he was in The Crow.
Okay.
That's
The
one of
Crow
the
is
things he's
one of my favorite.
I mean, he's also Spider-Man, but like
I hope we cover
think
The Crow. Oh my God.
probably later.
I love
For
that
horror
fucking movie.
he was also in Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Yes, he was.
So people were and CSI. But that that's definitely, it's hard to pick the most memorable, but that's going to be up there too. Even if you don't really see her. And then things sort of just like keep spiraling because I don't know, it's like 1, 2, 3, and then it's 4, 5, like really fast.
yeah.
So after Lust comes Pride.
Yes. Yes.
Which is another one you really don't see a lot. You see her laying there, but that's one, it was very fresh. And
yeah, she had the phone glued to one hand, the prescription bottle, and they're like, oh, she could either call, and
live her life disfigured.
Exactly. And live her, because they said they tried to peel like the nose was.
He cut off her nose to
Right.
spite her face.
Exactly.
And the way I always remember that line too, because
Yep.
it's one cop. Oh, he cut off her nose, and then Somerset to spite her face.
Yes, or you can have the prescription bottle and
that's the way
my
she
gosh,
took.
of the sleep aids. Oh, that is.
And so all you
oh my
really see for
gosh.
her is the bandages, the bloody bandages
Yeah.
all over her face, and she slept with her own picture above her, like her own, because she was like a model.
Yeah.
So which also seems almost in like this pure white, just like
Right.
very stereotypical.
Everything's white. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one was really fast because they were like, this like just happened. And I love in the apartment, we get to hear his voice for the first time. We forgot about that.
Oh, that's right.
In the apartment, he's like, I admire you. I do have to move my timetable forward. But I just wanted to call and let you know that, good job. Sorry I had to hurt you. It's very flat and matter of fact for someone who's committing such intense and elaborate murders.
It's so flat, but you hear so much in it though. Oh my God.
So now we're down. We've gotten 5 kills. So we're down to the final 2.
It's like American Idol.
Yeah,
Just we're down to the final 2.
the final 2 murders are in the building. And literally, because he walks in and he's just like, hey, hey,
Hi,
Detectives!
detectives.
But also, how far did he walk in that city, covered in blood, blood before people, because he probably just came from murdering this chick.
It goes to show, if you live in a big city like that, that's terrifying because no one's going to stop you. They're just going to look at you, walk by. But also that moment where he's like, detectives. Like, oh my God. He's like, hi, I'm here.
You're looking for me. They're like,
This whole thing.
Yeah.
Detective, I'm here to tell you what I did.
but like, I will say I think I remember like moving back to Chicago after after college, I remember walking and seeing a pool of blood and like smelling, like I was just like, oh no, that's real, because it smelled like copper.
Oh, Jesus.
And just being like, okay. Like,
oh my God.
What am I supposed to do?
It's like,
All right,
yeah,
bye.
what do you do?
So
oh my God.
when that happened, like I thought about, I was like, why are people letting him walk? And I'm like, because who's gonna bother him?
Who's going to stop? Yeah, exactly. Who's going to stop him?
You see so many things living in a city that like you can try and do something about it at your own peril, or you just have to accept that it's already happened. It's just one of those things where you're like, I don't blame anyone for any action that they take.
It's like the bigger the city, the less fucks are like noticed.
Just like looking at the Citizen app every day, I'm like,
all the time.
God,
There's like
why do I leave the house?
machete wielding.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh.
Why is that such a thing? Like machete wielding in LA?
I
Where's
guess
everyone
there's-
getting these machetes?
I don't know.
you had a
but-
machete for your fashion show. You
Yes.
weren't allowed to use it, but you had one. You were like, I just want realism. I found it. You found a really cute pink one, though.
I made that.
You made it pink?
Yeah.
Maybe that was one of the citizen alarms.
Right?
It's just you being like,
JP turned us in.
JK.
they're like, where are these people getting the machetes? I made them. I made them. People ask me for color-coded machetes all the time, and I make them.
No, it was so cute.
It was real cute. But then you have the conversation between, and he's just like, I want my lawyer. And you're just like,
Oh yeah, and oh my God, I never picked this up until when I watched it. But he's bloody, right? His hands are bloody. Clearly, knowing what we know from the end, we know why he's bloody, right?
Yes.
And that's watching that in retrospect and seeing how the blood is, like how it is on his hands and his arms, and knowing what he did right before he went in there.
I love that the cop that arrests him is
my
just
God.
like, oh, Jesus. It's like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh.
We forgot a scene.
Oh shit.
The diner.
Jesus, a very important scene. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I kind of just go to the murders.
I know, we
insert
get very
this-
excited.
Insert
but-
this
yes.
to earlier.
Okay.
At one point, Tracy, that's her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tracy calls Somerset. It was like, I just need someone to talk to. And
I
he's
ain't got
just
no
like,
friends.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I wish when I picture her as Tracy and not Gwyneth Paltrow, I feel very sad
Yeah.
because she, like, we
You
all
know-
relate to that at some point where it's like, I don't have anyone to talk to.
You see
Like,
her at this diner, and she's just like,
Yeah.
so do you get used to it? And like, he's just like, girl, what do you want? Why are we here? And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh.
Right.
And
It's
they had
like of
this,
all the people to tell.
yeah.
Well, he literally says, he's like, I'm not the guy. So I
Right.
convinced the reason I'm single is because I convinced her to not have a baby.
Right.
And that was probably my bad on my part. It was a good choice, but one I regret. But like, which is honestly a very realistic way to say
I love that because basically you learn a lot about him in that, where it's like he would have loved to have a family. I feel like he
Yeah.
would have loved to have that if he was in a different field, but because of the field he was in, he was like, nope.
I think it's one of the things that's like, in a different life, I would have loved this,
Exactly.
but it's not,
Yeah.
that's not the life I had.
And I love when he's like, if you choose to keep it, like it's your choice. And, blah, blah, blah.
Very
If you
progressive for
choose to get rid of
1995.
it, like, you need to tell him. Like, just, yeah.
No,
Or
he
he's
said,
like,
if
don't
you
ever
divorce,
tell
don't
him.
ever tell
Divorce.
him.
Don't ever tell him. But if you choose to keep it, like, yeah.
If you
Spoil
choose to
that
keep it,
kid
spoil
every
it.
chance you get.
If you choose to not, just never tell him. Which, yeah, very, very progressive for the time, and very interesting conversation that they had. And I was just like, oh, right. And this is 1995. But okay, good on you, Somerset.
Good on you, Somerset.
So yeah, so then they have John Doe in custody, and the lawyer's like, all right, so he'll take you, there's 2 more bodies. He's going to take you to him. Only you 2. And if you don't, I'm going to get him off on insanity. And they're like, but, well, they couldn't. And these murders, and like this right here is admissible. And he's like, bruh, he killed a bunch of people by the accordance of the 7 deadly sins. Yeah, I'm going to get him off on insanity. Let's go.
Right.
Which is like, it's
like, there's a lawyer there. All he can say is like, okay,
He's like,
how
come
do
on,
we
guys.
reduce the sentence?
guys,
Like,
you know what's going to happen here. Just do it. And I love that they're
Yeah.
like, we're going to finish this. Because it is an interesting call to, in the beginning when Somerset's talking to the captain, it's like, I don't want to be on this. And he's like, you have so many unfinished cases. And he's like, I got them as far as I could go. And even if that is true, because of course not every case is going to be solvable, it's at the end where he's like, I want to finish this before you go. I like that they had that in the beginning and the end, especially with like how much their relationship grew.
yeah.
And then we get, I just love that scene. I love that setting in the power lines. I love the long road down the center of it. I love how golden it is. I love the haze.
It's the best part of the whole movie.
I think the corpses are, but
I love that you're introduced to John Doe last, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes of the film.
which is also the random trivia comparing this to a movie we watched earlier, Manhunter, is Noonan didn't want to be around the crew, or I'm sorry, the cast or the crew to keep for his part. He needed to be isolated to keep that, like, for the character. Same thing they had in Seven is like they didn't want people to know he was in the movie so that you weren't just like sitting there expecting him the whole time. So he wasn't on the poster, he wasn't in trailers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait a really long time just to actually see a face.
Right. And when you do see him, I mean, he has his like neighborhood watch fedora, his like trench coat. Like you don't actually see him.
I wonder if that was the chase scene. I
I'm
don't
sure
think
it's
that
not-
was him.
No.
Like there's
I'm sure
no
it's not
way.
him. But character wise, I don't know. But
Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
oh my gosh, that just says so much about all the characters. And it's the only like daytime scene too, right?
Yeah.
Where
Well,
they're driving.
there's others
It's the only
where they're-
sunshiny.
But like the only significant daytime scene, they're driving, and all you see is John Doe's scenes in the rear view mirror. And Somerset's trying to hold down the fort. He's trying to be calm. He's like, "Tell me about yourself." Like he's just trying to be calm when Brad Pitt is literally a second away from snapping. He's just any minute now he's gonna snap.
Well, I think there's a lot of their conversation where Brad Pitt's just trying to goad him.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Exactly. Yeah.
Just like when what was it? Oh God, it was like disgusting. When you like sit there looking at your mementos while jerking off in your own shit.
Yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
just like really like he's just trying to get a rise
He's just
out
like
of him.
so like we got you, motherfucker. That like mentality. We're so angry, but it's like I know you. I got you, so I could just fuck with you like this. Oh my gosh! And Somerset's just trying to drive, just trying to be calm, and he's just like, I was chosen. this is some,
Well, no,
this
but
is
then
the
they also
conversation.
they argued with him where it's like they argue essentially theology with him of like, well, if you were chosen by God and you have to do this, then you shouldn't be enjoying it.
Right.
It's when you start to see that it's not like when he breaks his very monotone facade of being like, you think these are innocent people? A
This
child
man who
molester,
was- right.
a guy who ate so much that he can't even stand up,
Right.
and you must have loved when I killed that lawyer.
And
like
that buildup of him, he's still so subtle, and he's just like. But oh my God, I keep thinking about the difference between Somerset and Mills in this scene, and how Somerset's just, he knows the routine, he knows psychologically how to talk to this person, but Mills is just such a fucking green motherfucker who's just like, oh, he's just so happy that he caught this guy, and he's just like, I got you, motherfucker. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. Blah 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 blah. And John Doe knows that he has him in his palm.
Yeah,
He knows
absolutely.
that this entire time, and in retrospect, if you see it the first time, it's one thing. But in retrospect, when you know what's coming, you see the subtleties, and he's just like, I know I have you. I know I won. It doesn't matter what I say. Ugh, it's so good.
so then they're in the how do you call it, a field of power lines.
Like a desert of power lines.
Yeah, down the middle, and the helicopters are following them, and they can't land because of all the power lines. So they have to stay there. And all of a sudden, they get out, and they're just like, "All right, where are we? There's nothing here but like a dead animal."
Right. And he's like, any minute now.
I just love what he's like.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I didn't do that.
I didn't do that one.
Because he said it was clearly a dog, right?
But then the delivery driver comes up to deliver a package, and he's just like, I just got paid $500 to do this. Oh my God, I didn't do nothing. And that's when the most iconic ending of movies. I know that there's more after this scene, but it doesn't really matter because this is the ending.
The whole time he's just like, you'll see any minute now. Like, you'll see. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What time is it?
What time
I just
want to
know.
I just want to know. Very casual. I just want to know.
Yeah, that delivery driver was 1 minute late.
It's 7:01. And when he said that, he's like, oh, okay. Because
he's like, I paid $500.
Driver was supposed to get there at 7.
Yeah.
And so you see this car, and then Somerset's like, stay right there. Hold your horses. I'll be right. BRB, guys. So, yeah, he goes up, and the poor delivery driver is like, I don't know what I'm doing here. You just told me to meet you here. And ooh, yeah, iconic scene. And this is where that Mandela effect comes in, where I thought I remembered this, and I wonder if anybody else does. So please tell me if you remember this. I swear I remember at some point in this movie, you can see the head. And I think it's because later you see that like same Exorcist subliminal, like quick flash of her. You do. So Somerset opens the box and you don't know what's in there, but his reaction is just like, he has us all. He's playing us all. He's playing us all. And he runs back to Mills and John Doe. And oh my God, John, the reaction though, because at this whole time, John Doe is just like, I went to your house. I tried to play house. I tried to play, happy home, and she didn't respond. Tracy, right? Like, he's just saying all this stuff, and Mills is just like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's just like, yeah, sad what I had to do, when I cut off, like, he basically just says he cut off her head.
Well, he said, I took her pretty little head.
I took her pretty little head. And he's like, what? Why? And then, like, oh my God, that whole scene is so good. Somerset's like, no.
What's in the box?
No, don't. Put your gun down. Put your gun down. He has the upper hand. He's like, what's in the box? What's in the box? Everybody do their what's in the box impression. Go.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
It's but then
You have to do it.
I did it though. I did it first.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Yeah. I have to do all three?
No, just
okay.
a subset.
Okay, I will do it again. What's in the box? What's in the box? Fucking blew the mic on that one.
Oh, that was great.
But I just love then he's just like, and she begged for her life and that of her unborn child.
Oh my God. And then Somerset's just
he
like,
didn't know. But he said, he says he did it because he is envy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So he is one of the sins this whole time. He's envy. And then he's like, do it. Do it. Be wrath.
And someone's like, don't do it. He wants you to do it. Like, don't.
He's like, yeah, because I need 7.
Oh my
I'm on
gosh.
6. Come on, last one.
It's like, come on. And he's still trying to be calm. Somerset's still like, don't. He has the upper hand. You don't want to do it.
But Brad Pitt's acting, and
he's
when he's holding, and it's so close on his face, and he's holding the gun. And then like he cries.
Yeah, like the consideration.
Like, you think he's gonna do it, and he backs off again. It's like, what would you do? What would you do in that situation? It's like, I know he has the upper hand, but this is my life. Like, how do you process that in that moment? Like,
I didn't think of it as him backing off. I think of it as just like he's processing, and you see it,
right.
And it's the acting, which is so big in comparison to John Doe's containment, is
oh my gosh,
so well done. And he knows it's true because Somerset punched him. He tried to get him to not say it, so he knows it's true.
Right. And to this day, when you look back at that scene, it's just like, as an actor especially, like as a director, how do you go about being like, okay, you just found out, your wife's head's in a box, and also, she was carrying your baby. Like, and then they go, and the actor just has to be like, fuck. Like, how do you internalize that?
It's kind of similar to that scene in Mandy. Where, he's like on the toilet. Yes. Which is weird because it's like, it's processing like a massive amount of grief. Obviously, I think Brad Pitt does it much better, but it's the same.
But it's like, you never know how you react to that. Yeah.
No, because it's like, what do you fucking do? How do you
exactly? How do you process that much? It's like, I feel like immediately it doesn't hit you until the next day. I feel like immediately there's this thing of like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Shock. In his case, wrath. Like he brought him to wrath. You know, it's, oh my, I don't know.
He shoots him once and then he shoots him a couple more times.
Yeah.
For good measure.
And then Summerson's just like, fuck.
Double tap. It's a thing. You gotta make sure that they're down.
He did like the quadruple tap with that one.
And then you have the SWAT team that's up there like, yeah, shot him, get down, we gotta get down. And I could have ended the movie with the shots. I know they do more after.
And I thought I remember that being the ending too, which there's a lot I remembered that didn't actually happen.
I think it's like him getting put in the cop car.
Yeah,
and
right. Whatever he needs. We'll be there for it.
It's so suspenseful though. Like it doesn't matter how many times you've seen this movie. It's just so like you're grasping on your chair. You're so on edge.
I think like, you know, your supposed like silver lining is like that Somerset has like refound his love for humanity and police work.
Yeah, he's like, oh, where are you gonna be? Around. Like,
yeah.
It's like,
then he like quotes Hemingway and calls it a day. Does some epic voiceover.
His Morgan Freeman voiceover.
It's the world is a fine place and worth fighting for.
Yeah, it's a fine.
I paraphrase.
Worth fighting.
But far more interesting is especially for you, is that the word fuck and its derivatives was said 74 times in this film. 74 times.
Wow.
I love that you guys are looking at me for that one.
No, I feel like this movie invoked a lot of fucks, which is why I said a lot of fucks. I took the fucks on this one.
He made me fucker. I mean,
I still took the fucks. I'm still taking them.
Iconically.
I'll take the fucks for you.
But I mean, all in all, besides the fact that it's legitimately a beautiful movie, it is,
you know, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah. All right, which of the dead out of the 7? Which of the dead bodies? Oh, also trivia about the head in the box is that they used it. That's the same head they used in Contagion when Gwyneth Paltrow's character.
So
for the autopsy.
they made the head. Then you're saying
so
they did make the head.
Is this a Mandela effect?
I never saw that. I don't think you ever see the head.
No, but I think I do. I think
that they did make one. So
no, they did.
Does anybody else remember this? Is this like a deleted scene or something? Because I thought I
feel like maybe it's in some photos that
maybe
are on the internet.
I mean, they made the head, they put it in the box. Maybe they decided not to use it, but they did use it in Contagion. But it is the same head from 7.
Interesting.
Her autopsy head
wow.
in Contagion was like from that. So,
and you know, that's probably the best decision that Fincher has ever made. If that was his decision to do that,
yeah. I mean, sometimes you just need to hold back.
Right.
He showed the bodies he needed to show.
Less is more in a lot of cases.
So this is going to be so off topic, but did you guys ever watch Friday Night Lights?
No.
TV show. So there's a scene where like one of the main characters' dads is like a soldier overseas, and he's killed in the line of duty. His body comes back, and they tell him, this teenage boy, not to look at it.
Oh no.
And they open the coffin and they show just the reaction of the actor, and it's his name's like Zach Guilford or something like that.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, because I watched this whole show during the pandemic, and I was like, that dude should be in horror movies. And now Mike Flanagan cast him in everything.
Yeah.
But
wait, Zach Guilford. Which one is he?
He was also in The Purge before he was in Mike Flanagan stuff.
Who was he? Zach Guilford. Who is he?
He started the Midnight Mass show.
Okay.
But anyway, it's the same thing where they don't show the gore, they just show the reaction, and sometimes that just works so much better.
I think that's so much, unless you're doing like like Terrifier. Like I feel like less is more.
As long as you've got an actor that can do it, that can give you the goods.
Exactly. If you have the actor and like the intent is there, but you don't necessarily need to show it. Especially, I feel like if you're on a budget too, and you need to work around that. If you have the actor,
I mean, this movie was $33 million.
Yeah,
I don't think they had a budget.
Well, I don't mean this case, but I just mean in general. Like the actor can give you the gore. The actor can give it to you, just based on the reaction. Oh God, this movie is so fucking good.
But out of my favorite dead bodies.
Your beautiful, stunning,
beautiful
corpses.
dead bodies. No, it's the first one. It's Gluttony.
Gluttony's
so well done. Gluttony's disgusting.
Yeah, I think that's like my favorite death.
That's your
too.
favorite?
Yeah,
mine's Sloth. I think
he's gross, but Sloth actually reminds me of Leprosy from It.
Yeah,
the modern It remakes. I think the boils and the emaciated, and then even the bandage across. It's not like his eyes are bandaged like it is in 7, but like he has a face bandage. So for me, like that's what rewatching it, that's what I thought of now. I was like, oh, they're twinning.
If you had to die in one of the 7 deadly sins in this movie, how would you want to die?
I mean, I would just take pride and choose the phone because a lot of people are lusting after the ghoul in Fallout. And so like she could just be, you know, permanent cosplay.
You know,
Not making light of the situation, but kind of because we have a dark sense of humor.
Because if he meant his word on that, I'd be like, you know what?
And choose life.
I have money. I can get plastic surgery. I have a story to tell. People will know what happened to me.
Did he take the nose?
I mean, the bandages were supposed to be like, yeah.
I'm like, is there a way to reattach
nose?
it?
Can I call a friend?
In the wall box at this point.
The wall trophy case.
Yeah, he had a place for that where that nose was going to go. It was going to go next to the hand.
Yeah.
He had a plan.
Man.
But those the worst one I can imagine living through would be sloth. That I can't.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Can't even imagine.
It feels a little low effort. Like he started out with some really meticulously planned deaths, and then the last ones feel a little like rushed.
He said he ran out of time. He had to move forward his timetable.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm going to find a really pretty. He's like, I was planning on doing a lot more, but they're still clever.
Yeah.
The deaths are very, very well done.
So that's 7.
Anyway, so yeah, this was our month of serial killer movies. Which one was your fave? I'm very excited to know.
There's a lot. There was a lot. This month was a lot in a great way.
And, you know, having 2 movies that are coming out having 2 movies that came out this month, being one a real life slasher amplified, and then the other one being a brand new but somewhat inspired by a real life slasher, to have 2 that are so well known you would almost think they were real, even though neither of them are based on
Iconic
slashers.
Yeah.
But they are not put in this reality. But they feel, I don't know what's scarier, knowing that there's like the real thing or knowing what could be, and we don't even have.
Both.
Either way, these killers are they are definitely haunting, and they are definitely memorable, and they are definitely iconic. So,
well, I'm personally happy to be moving on to August into slightly lighter subject matter.
Still horror though, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Still horror.
We're gonna make sure that August is a fun time, because this was very heavy slasher serial summer, I feel like.
Follow us on our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you are looking for some recommendations to keep you cool on these hot summer nights, these sweltering Summer of Sam evenings, we have a lot of great recommendations for you in our short form content.
Yes.
Also, check out our Patreon for full episodes, so you can see all the stuff we cut out. And we did it for your benefit, but if you want to see it anyway, that's on you.
We hope you do. Until then, sweet screams, everybody.
And whatever you do,
don't fall asleep first.
No! What's in the box? What's in the bags? What's in your dick? Wait, what?